What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the ZnZerna Music Hour with me, P.T. Burnham. It's good to have y'all back. It's Tuesday, normal time, and let me tell you, it's been a wild day full of artistic highs and artistic lows. What's going on, Footbags? Glad to have you with us. Wow. So, just to give a brief heading for the show, going to be talking about construction of bells, checking in with how we're progressing on these things. Going to talk about composition, ambience, and stuff like this, which part of which you're hearing now. Got some various ambiences ready to go on the MPC Live. Right now I'm just going through the mic. It's been a busy day. I've got no cameras set up. It's just going to be me talking to y'all about the project. The project is going to take up the next 2 months of my time, and it is going to be, it's already full of learning. Basically so much of what I've been learning about music theory and the tarot and philosophy is coming to intersecting points. And there's a lot of information flooding my mind in a really good way. So I'm hoping to share some of that information with you. And I guess let's start with the breather. I'm going to get back into this ambience, bring up the breather. We're all going to take a deep breath and then dive in. But what I'm going to give you is construction, bells. I'm going to run through how my day was today, talk about Warlock Hours. And then I'm going to talk about composition. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about philosophy, some philosophy that I've been learning, and a little bit about philosophy that has been coming to the forefront as a result of this project. And honestly, I got to say, taking on slightly large projects or really large projects, ambitious projects, is, especially ones where you have to learn a lot about different things, can be thrilling. We'll get into that in a minute. For now, we're going to go with the breather. No, we are not. I didn't even have time to set the breather up. Oh, wait, is it? Okay. Nice green. Fade through some colors. Make it brighter. So, let's start with how today went. Right now I'm playing I believe a D-flat drone. Been learning a lot more about music theory and keys. It's all starting to make sense to me now. I'm not going to bore you with a bunch of music theory on this show tonight. Just going to let you know that right now we're in D flat minor for anybody who does know what that means. Actually, right now we're in A flat minor. This is D flat minor. Okay, so we're gonna let that run. So the last 3 weeks has been marked by a lot of back pain. Some really debilitating stuff that was affecting my energy levels and my ability to really do anything. I kept doing stuff. A lot of you know and are afflicted with the same affliction that I am afflicted with, which is that I cannot stop doing things. And so I didn't stop doing things, but I just hurt a lot. And huge thanks to Ariel for taking care of me during those times. And anyways, one of the ways that I've found to deal with this is to not let my back lock up at night by being immobile for too long. So what I do is I sleep for 4 hours, then I wake up and stretch, and then I sleep again for about 4 hours. Sometimes, though, I get a little restless and I go for a walk during the period in between the two sleeps. And this is probably around 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I've just been walking around Richmond. Sometimes I like to trespass in places I shouldn't go. I don't know if I can say that. I don't know what kind of world we're living in now. Yeah, sometimes I like to walk on train tracks or, nothing too heavy. I don't climb fences anymore. My back. But I do like to walk around in places where maybe you're not technically supposed to be walking around, and tapping on things and listening for resonances. One thing that I'll tell you that I learned there is that it matters a lot how you hold something if you're trying to get some resonance out of it. For instance, and this isn't even an item that I've tried to make resonate yet, but you pick that up off the ground, you listen to it and say, probably that doesn't resonate. But the key is to hold it about 22, 23% down. Oh, this might not resonate anyway. It doesn't, which was a big fail. Anyways, the day has been full of things like that, but also other more positive things. Yes, so anyways, the key to some things is where you strike them can be very important. In fact, I'll be right back. Walked right by it. Okay, so use my copper pipe as an example. A copper pipe which may or may not make it into the final machine. I'm not sure. Okay, so holding it from the top. Very high pitched, kind of annoying metallic sound. But so you pick this up off the ground. This I did not pick up off the ground. This I bought, and I will tell you something. I bought this. It was fairly expensive. Copper pipe is not cheap, and I was gonna buy like 10 feet of it. And Ariel was like, "You might want to wait and buy a little bit of it and see what's what." And thank goodness that I did, because I was gonna spend like $150 on stuff that may or may not be able to be used. So there's that, and then, holding it from about a quarter down, you hear that, and that higher is starting to resonate. That as opposed to this. Big difference. So one could theoretically, and this is actually talked about in this book that I'm reading. It's called Making Experimental Instruments. I linked to it last week while we were chatting, but really good book. I'm sure I can find it. But yeah, you can actually take a large pipe. You can actually take a large pipe and play it by pinching off different parts of it and hitting it. I'm not going to really attempt to do that now, but yes, that's something that you can do. So picking things up, I've been picking a lot of stuff up in the wild and testing out its resonances, which is quite fun and quite an interesting way to interact with the surrounding environment. All iPhones can get a frequency analyzer called Sound Tools. I highly recommend it. That's the name of the app. It will just be a frequency analyzer, and you can knock on things and hear and see what their not their resonant frequency. Their resonant frequency, but it's their fundamental frequency. What the ear hears is the fundamental, which sometimes isn't necessarily what the tone that it's making. In fact, bells are notorious for making many, many, many tones. It's actually inharmonic tones. And then the ear, through psychoacoustics, makes and forms that bell tone out of all that clamorous noise. So, yes, walking around at 2 a.m., banging on objects, and thinking about how much I would like to put a bunch of solenoids onto mic stands so I can position them, and taking them out with battery power. I do have a battery that can power all these solenoids, and attaching them directly to like bridges, like points on bridges, and then having a session where I play the bridge. I just think that would make for a great video and a lot of fun. That is exactly how I got the railroad spike. And I acquired a few more railroad spikes. They were clearly not being used. They were far away. I don't think they were even, technically in the place that I was trespassing, walking along the path. In fact, let me, I'll be right back. Right, so I wasn't gonna do another spike, but since you mentioned it, it's actually an excellent example of what I was just talking about, even better than the pipe is. So here's a spike that I actually have been polishing. You might pick it up and get nothing out of it. You might even try holding it at the junctions. That's the key. The weight's got to be on the bottom, and it helps to strike the weight itself. Now, because there is more weight here, I believe that, like, you see how I am not holding it really a quarter of the way down fully. It's kind of further up top, more like 20% down. I think that's because it wants to be excited. Sorry, my mind wandered. It has nothing to do with the exciter. It has to do with the weight down here that sort of offsets that point here in terms of the vibration. Get a much better sound out of that. And again, all of these seem to be tuned to E. In fact, I'm thinking about maybe making a couple of like industrial tuning Johns. Like, you know, it would be mounted something like this. It would be mounted something like this, you know, or rather like this classy. And maybe be able to be activated by electrical impulse. Although I would kind of want it to just have a hammer with it, because I would want it to be for anybody to be able to use, you know? A nicely mounted railroad spike that's tuned to E, so you can just tune your guitar to it if you want. Once you can find E, you can find any note. So, yeah. So, okay. Did that this morning. Did what I've been calling Warlock Hours, which is like, you know, the rest of the world is asleep and you're wandering around doing weirdo shit. Now, kids, if you happen to be watching this and you like to do weirdo shit, I would highly recommend becoming an artist. Hey babe, what's up? Good to see you. Just been talking about bells and weirdo shit. So yeah, if you're prone to weirdo shit anyway, you might as well become an artist, because that way you can start to build a sort of philosophy and story to your weirdo shit, the way it fits together, you know, and start making things that can make other people happy, or helping other people make the stuff that makes them happy. It leads to what I can say is a good life, not because, actually because I don't have much money, because I can say that I'm still happy, and it doesn't take a lot to make a person happy if they're making the things that they enjoy making. So, that being said, I also was sort of getting and gathering, you know, hopefully some wood pieces to hold the bells. And I did gather one piece, but there's also this large pallet that Visitor 10, shout outs to Visitor 10, had pulled from somewhere and had it up against the wall, and was going to allow me to take some of the wood from that pallet for my project. And I decided to go and try to get that done this morning, and it did not work out well. I made a couple of videos, which I'm gonna sort of put together. You know, I cut myself because there was glass on the ground underneath the pallet, and so I cut my finger up pretty good. It's okay though. You know, it's really just a scratch mostly. Like it took some cleaning. It's not too deep. But I hurt myself, and I couldn't get the wood. Oh yeah. Well, we're in the realm of the High Priestess right now, babe. So, right. Hurt myself, didn't get the materials, felt very discouraged, but was reminded of a very important thing when doing projects. This is Piercing and Zen in the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. This is a book that's what's up. Zen in the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance is a book by Piercing, Robert Piercing, and goes into a lot of stuff. Has a little to do with motorcycle maintenance, a lot to do with Zen, but a lot to do with things like mental illness, societal structure, language, modes of thinking, and philosophy. So anyways, one of the things he does say about motorcycle maintenance is when you suffer something like what they call a knuckle duster, which is you injure yourself in the process of trying to do something. Usually when that happens, you also didn't manage to do what you set out to do either. So you've got this double thing where you're hurt now okay, so the key then is to take a step back because you're kind of losing momentum. You're like leaking momentum. And if you go back in, you're kind of acting from a place of frustration and likely to make some more mistakes. So especially if you hurt yourself or suffer a knuckle duster, you got to step back and reconsider or just take a walk and think. So that's what I did. This was a sort of low point of the day. So I took a walk and I thought, and I recovered another piece of wood, just from garbage basically that I saw. But it looks good. It's an old piece of flooring. So very flat, nice for my purposes. And brought it home and thought, I'm going to get to tuning these bells because I wanted to have a bell tuned for y'all. Do you want me to show y'all the bell that I made? I can show you this thing. This is the prototype. And, I think I'm going to... Well, I'll cut it later. No, I'll cut it. I want to show you what it's going to look like with its clean lines. With the way that it's going to look. I mean, I can't do it entirely clean because I had to sort of rig it a little bit. That was another sort of artistic low that happened today, is the mounting system that I thought I had in place kind of kicked my ass and revealed its weaknesses to me. But this is roughly what the bells are going to look like. So they've got the solenoid mounted to the bottom. In the end, I think I'm going to be mounting them with wood glue. But if you notice, and these are Jenga pieces, me and Ariel were talking about Jenga pieces. They're perfect for construction. They're very sturdy and they're very regular, very repeatable. You know what you're getting with a Jenga piece. Clean wood too. So eventually I think it'll be mounted with wood glue, but you've got a much nicer looking sort of striker. And I think it's going to be able to get loud. You can hear how that resonates. Very nice. So that is roughly what the thing is going to look like, but except without the one string that's kind of wrapping around the back. And those are going to be mounted upright. I may even embed LED lights, or I think I'm going to find a way. Boom. And imagine 8 of these around the room. And there's going to be some special, because I'm going to have it arranged so that the melody, the main melodic piece of the piece, the main melody of the piece, when it's played on the bells, will rotate around the audience. I may even try to finish its construction and test it here on the air. I think I've got everything that I need to do that. And it is going to be really rad. I've been feeling very fortunate to have the gallery show. So November 16th at Gallery 5 in Richmond is, I just feel very happy that I have connections enough to get me, that kind of positioning and make it worthwhile for me to be doing this kind of work. And I think it's gonna be a relative success. And I mean, I will say the construction, and especially keeping the construction clean, has been a challenge and a big learning process. So moving on with my day, it's been a busy day. That's why there's only one camera right now. Might have to test that out. So I've been playing around with the chord structures. Basically, I'm going to be messing around in D flat and E flat. Now, not to get too crazy technical on you, but I'm utilizing the tarot to help plot the progressions. So each tarot card is associated with a pitch, and that pitch and their relationships to each other can reveal certain things about musical progressions that actually may or may not have an effect on the effectiveness of the final piece, but I'm looking to test it out. It certainly gives me a direction to move. It sort of helps me find a focus for a direction to move. The key of A flat minor is a weird one that has not historically been used a lot, but I kind of find that appealing. So this is D flat minor, and this is A flat minor. And all of these are sounds being made by Mononoke. That is the drone synth for iPad. These are my chosen keys. I do not have a melody yet. One of the reasons I'm trying to get these bells tuned right now is because once I do have them tuned, I can sample them, and no matter where I am, I can compose with them, because I'll just compose with the samples and then run it live when I get back to the studio. So that I know, Footbags, you'll probably, we will destroy these bots. But check this out. Where was I? Yes. I was saying, equipping myself with the ability to compose for the sounds of those bells without having the actual bells with me if I'm traveling around or whatever during the next 2 months. I've got 3 of the bells tuned. Actually, 2 of them I tuned. One of them was already tuned. And then I'm tuning a 4th one also. So in the beginning of the day, I was tuning these bells. You can hear I like how this feels during the D flat, because this is A flat here. It's like calling to A flat. And then when we're now in the key of A flat, it sounds more comfortable, like it's at home. So I'm going to be using that relationship during the show, in the composition. But tuning these little bastards, very interesting. Basically, you have to cut away material. If you're flat, you can bring the pitch up by cutting away material. The thing is that, especially with thin-walled things like copper tubing, it's a very small amount of material that you need to remove to change the pitch. I knew that going in from reading this fantastic book. I'm mentioning it again to remind myself to tell you what it's called, which is called Musical Instrument Design: Practical Information About Music Making by Bart Hopkins. Incredible book. Everything you could want to know about making a weird ass instrument. All sorts of stuff that you would never, like calculations and methods of tuning. And Bart Hopkins warned me that it was going to be a very small amount and to be very careful. So I got my Dremel tool, which is a small grinder, sander, cutter tool, and I clamped it, and I carefully went in, grinding away part of the pipe. I took it back to the tuner after it had cooled off, because that's another thing, is that if it's hot, it will make a different tone than when it's cool. Okay. Took it back to the tuner. Nothing has changed. No hertz has shifted. So I've got to cut 18 hertz off of the vibration, and I figure I've been sanding. I took about maybe a 0.5 millimeter off. Nothing has changed. So I'll make a line about 2 millimeters in, and I will use a cutting tool instead of a sanding tool to cut around that and see where I am from there. So I cut about 2 millimeters off. Very careful. Use my goggles, gloves, mask. You do not want to be breathing in metal dust or shavings in any way, shape, or form, and that shit can come flying up off of there into your eyes. Probably won't blind you, maybe, but can give you more floaters. If you're old like me, you have floaters. Lots of them. Anyway. Go back to the tuner. Let the pipe cool off. Go back to the tuner. Lucky fucking me, it is exactly the tune. It's this. A flat. I just got extremely lucky. It was amazing how much shift there was just from me cutting into that. So after that, I went downstairs, felt very lucky, but also like I gotta really figure out how to do this in a way that I'm not gonna ruin these copper pipes. And went downstairs, talked to Visitor 10. They actually lent me an angle grinder. And so for the next tube, I went in on that. And it worked pretty well. I was able to carefully shift it until it was perfectly in tune. And the third one that I tried today was actually in tune from the jump. So it was already at an E, matching our So, got 3 tuned. I want to tune a 4th, sample them so that I can use them to compose. Then I've got 4 more to build. Speaking of that, it is come to my attention that creating even this bell, even though I was able to source some of the parts for free, still cost me about $20, $25 to make, which is not that expensive. But when you know that you're going to have to make 7 more of these, with the hardware, the wood, solenoids, the copper tubing, you realize that you're going to have to spend another $150, $200. Does it make you want to pull your hair out? No. Makes you want to throw a telethon. So that's what we're going to do next Friday. I'm doing another small run of coloring books. There's still 8 tapes left and a whole bunch of stickers, as well as a few other things that I'm going to think up. And on Friday, I'm going to offer those things at discounts and try to raise up $150, $200 for this project, so I can bring this bells thing to life. And we'll see what we can do in terms of doing that. I won't be using one of these, I don't think, in the final production. Let's talk a little bit about philosophy, and we're going to wind it down. I guess I've already gotten into why you should be an artist if you're already prone to weirdo shit. It's more acceptable to be a weirdo if you're also producing things with a philosophical end to them, turns out. I benefited from that, and I'll bet you can too. Yeah, honestly, that's pretty much the bend of the philosophy stuff. I was going to get into some stuff that I've just been learning from this guy, actually, Roderick. He's like from the 90s. Well, he was doing these lectures in the 90s. Stuff on Nietzsche and Kierkegaard and some other philosophers, and kind of clarifying their stances. The idea of questioning where our moral stances come from, not whether we should be, kind, socially generous, respectful people in society, but where what we call good and right come from. Fascinating shit, but you can really check it out on your own if you want to. He's got a bunch of YouTube videos up, and just a interesting guy, Southern guy. It's funny to hear just like a guy from the South in the 90s going on about, it sounds like he's talking about now. He really had a kind of prescient eye for the issues that would be happening in terms of the self and what it means to be a free human. In fact, if I can make it a little bit interesting or intriguing for you, he's positing, or comes with one of the things that he posits and comes with is in terms of free humans. Can we have free humans if we don't even have humans? And what does it mean to be human? And whether or not it is being lost in today's current age of information bombardment and technological progress, etc. And what's cool is it doesn't do it in this like fear-mongering or alarmist way. Just kind of considering things matter-of-factly and asking a lot of questions. Really excellent. So would highly recommend that. It's been informing a lot of my philosophy lately, or at least my philosophical thinking, as I'm going around banging on these objects. And yeah, it's just been a really busy day. I'm glad to get the check-in with y'all about the bells, and really happy that I can present this as a prototype. Maybe we got 15 more minutes. Let me see if I can hook this thing up. First, what we need to do is cut the wires so that we expose the leads. And don't hit your computer with the scissors while you do it. There we go. Just one lead. Here's two. Wire cutters are handy, but I don't really need them. I'm pretty good with the finesse. Nice with it. Let me see here. Red is negative, and I do have those screwdrivers. Give me 1 second. place is an absolute mess right now. Please don't judge me. I've been so busy. Let's see. Having trouble finding the things, but I got this, which will probably do the trick. Let's see. Yeah, this will do the trick. So, been keeping Warlock Hours, been putting things together. All eyes on November. On the 16th, it's going to be exactly 2 months till what I'm calling D-Day or whatever. The day of presentation. I'd like to have everything ready to roll a month before that so that I can practice. And I think that's doable. But I have to take it really seriously. And really be working every day towards the project. So, let's see, got this wire in there. I swear I love these. Oh, no. Not yet. I got these really nice, like, solderless ends. So these like screw in basically. So you can take them off and put them back on. Readjust. It's nice. Eventually I'll probably solder them into place. But it's nice being able to adjust the length. Good for prototyping. Which is what I'm doing here. Oh, another thing I'm doing here is salvage work. And I think that's, if you're doing art there's no wrong way to do art, but I think it, not only does it behoove artists to, pardon me, consider their environment and work as non-destructively as possible. Let's see here. What do I got something here, I'm sure. Yeah, I think this one used to belong to the bell. I totally put the wrong end on this thing. Let's see. Where's the right end? Don't tell me I don't have any more right ends. Well, that don't make no sense. Let me see here. That can't be right. Yeah, okay. Gonna grab this one off of here real quick. And then we'll see where we can go from there. So I've got enough solenoids for 4 bells, including the big ass copper pipe because I've got one really powerful solenoid. But I need 4 more solenoids, a bunch more wood. The hardware is actually kind of expensive, more expensive potentially than the wood, because the wood sometimes can get sourced for free. But the hardware, you rarely find good hardware just for free. But if anybody's got a source on that, or if they've got a source on some wood, I'd be down to hear where that's at. Especially if you're in Richmond, Virginia. If you know where the wood is at, or if you know where the hardware is at. Things like drawer pulls and various nuts and bolts of a decorative sort. Really trying to keep this project a little cleaner than previous ones. Okay. Okay. No. So they can be a little finicky, but overall I think it's still easier than soldering. Okay. Now this should be the bells connector, not the new bell, the older bells. Let's see here. So, shoot. Well, damn. 1 second. Did not work out like I wanted it to at all. 1 second. Really? There we go. Okay. Actually, I wanted to. Oh, do I still have that over here? Why would I move it? Well, okay. Let's see what we got. This may or may not work. If it does, that'll be tight. Oh, okay. Few connections not made. Troubleshooting this. Here we go. All right, let's see. And I'm probably gonna call it a night in a moment. That is the damn, that's loud and nice. It's the best bell I have. That's fucking crazy that that's the best bell I have. This is the best bell I have. You see it out back there? Crazy. That's the symbol. I'm gonna have to solve that back click issue. Yeah, that's gonna need to be fixed. That's better, but it still needs to be fixed. Yeah. Okay, so still not perfect at all. But I love how it's still not even near as loud as the train, spike. Okay. Well, I was talking to Ariel earlier about miking or not miking this thing up, and it looks like miking is going to have to be the way. I'm gonna have to look more at the mounting situation as well. But for tonight, gonna call it a night and wish all y'all a fair and wonderful rest of your week, and say an enormous thank you to all of my dust cats. Well, we got it? No. New thank you. Wrong. Those are the old ones. This is the new one. So, thank you to all my digicats. Thank you to my Dusty Cats, Austin Cat, Visitor, Queen Cat, Wayne Anderson, Anna Carmen, Sam Seeger, Becca Maxing, Jen Dudley, Eric Akers, Scarlett Herrera. Thanks, B. And thanks to Erica P. and the Cold Rhymes Records, Gerard Stoltz, Melissa Schick. Thank you to my Lumi Cat, Dogfuck, who also helped provide these bells. Last but not least, thank you to Barry Cat, my royal blue. Everything is permitted because nothing is true. Little bit of chaos theory for you. It's been nice checking in with y'all. I'm gonna be continuing to put in work on these bells, and gonna go down to North Carolina, see my babe. Footbags, thanks for joining us this evening. Next week, I hope I'll have the whole setup back and maybe incorporating some of these sounds. We'll see how it goes. Until next week, keep listening. Try to harmonize with your environment. Maybe even, bring a striker down to some spot and see what resonates. Okay. Until next week, I'll see y'all later. Take it easy.